Shalom, this is Rabbi Sachs. The office is freezing today, so I'm in my uh, I'm in my winter garb. Um, so welcome to the Chai Center and welcome to the Chai Academy. And we have been discussing over the past few classes. We've been discussing the Holocaust, Hitler's rise to power, um, Chamberlain's appeasement, timing, and yesterday we discussed Kristallnacht. Now, of course, Kristallnacht, as we discussed, Kristallnacht was a an incredible. What happened before Kristallnacht was nothing. It was just aggravating. It's like a mosquito bite. After Kristallnacht, that's when the lion attacked. So there's a clear demarcation of before and after Kristallnacht. Now, today's topic is going to be somewhat accusatory, but proven, and it's not pleasant. But hey, the Holocaust wasn't pleasant either. So in a nutshell, Hitler, he believed that the Allies never bombed Auschwitz because he felt that the Allies didn't really care about the Jews. So and deep down, the Allies had acceptance of what Hitler was doing to the Jews. Um, and that's what they say about what Hitler believed, that he felt that the Allies secretly, wished they could do it. And now, Hitler was not entirely wrong. I mean, to throw an accusation like that the Allies were happy, I don't think the Allies were happy. I think the Allies, it's more of couldn't give a damn. And maybe they couldn't give a damn if it was Armenians, or couldn't give a damn if it was but they definitely couldn't give a damn about what Hitler was doing. Now, the reason, and there's actually a book on this. It's called "While 6 Million Died." There's a book. We'll talk about it in a minute. So we know for a fact that the Allies did bomb Auschwitz. They bombed it twice in the summer of 1944. They had accurate drawings and they had accurate maps of this Auschwitz campus. And what they did bomb was they bombed Buna. Buna was the synthetic oil factory that Jews, it was part of their responsibility. It was a labor camp. It was a death camp and labor camp. And those were those who were sent to labor camps. Some of them were sent to Buna, which is they manufactured, I'm not sure if that's the right word, synthetic oil for the Reich, for the war. So now, Buna was less than 5 miles away from the crematorium where Jews were burnt. And Buna was less than 5 miles away from the gas chambers, which is where they killed the Jews before they burnt their bodies. Less than 5 miles away. Right? So it was on this huge Auschwitz campus. And they bombed Buna. But they didn't bomb. And there's they survivors of Auschwitz said we were praying that they would bomb the gas chambers, bomb the crematorium. He says even if Jews die, it's still a win. It's still a win. And they didn't bomb the crematorium. They didn't bomb the gas chambers, and they didn't bomb the tracks leading into the death camp. And if they would have, millions or thousands, hundreds of thousands of Jews, or maybe at that late of the game, maybe it was a lot less, but they really ramped up in 1944 is when Hitler really ramped up the death of Jews. Can you imagine the summer of 44? They stopped Auschwitz from happening. There must be some statistic how many Jews were killed a day in Auschwitz, and in the summer it was 10 months before the war ended. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the difference? And truth be told, the Allies didn't care. Let's take the Brits. We discussed this before at great length. Instead of caring and trying to save Jews from certain death and labor and beatings and torture and torment and separating men and women from children, the British said white paper. Only certain amount, only a few thousand of Jews can enter into Palestine. Can you imagine the Brits? I understand you don't want them to come to Britain. I mean, I don't understand. But not to go into a place that's thousands of miles away from Britain. You couldn't even open the borders then. Sensitivities, poor Arabs, and what will the Gentiles say, type of thing. So that white paper also killed lives. So Hitler killed lives, and the Allies killed lives. And this is one of the way they killed lives was the white paper. Also, at that time, the United States, they had polls, and the polls were that the public, for the most part, did not want to allow Jews to enter, and they were quite happy barring Jews from entering the United States. And FDR, some people think he was good for the Jews, but truth is he was exposed that he was just a bad friend of the Jews. People, always say FDR is a friend of the Jews. He wasn't. He absolutely wasn't. And so the FDR and U.S. policy were terrible for the Jews, and caused many lives to be lost. They didn't do the actual killing, but with their they just omission. They didn't do anything to stop the killing. So they and there's a story, and we built it as such. The SS St. Louis. So the SS St. Louis was a ship. It set sail from Germany in 1939, and it was 6 months after Kristallnacht. And remember, we said that after Kristallnacht, Jews said the rest of the 300,000 remaining German Jews had to get out. They had to get out of Germany. So 6 months after, some Jews managed to get on the SS Louis. And there were 937 Jews aboard this ship. And they had permission, visas, to go to Cuba. Now, talk about bad luck. En route to Cuba, the Cuban government changed. There was a regime change, as we know. And Cuba reneged on the visas. They said, no, new government, visas, old visas are not going to be accepted. And so the SS St. Louis arrived in the port of Havana, and the Cubans said, no, you can't come in. They spent days at the Havana port, right? And there was Jews that were trying to bribe, trying to coerce, try to finagle, let the Jews in, let these 937 Jews in. And Cuba refused. Right? At the same time, U.S. Jews were trying diplomatically and speaking to various politicians, the senators, the congressmen, other legislators, etc., to allow, okay, if we can't allow in Cuba because of this regime change, come on, this is an emergency. This is a ship docked, right, 90 miles away from Florida. Help the Jews. And there's eyewitness testimony that on this boat, so the boat left the boat left Havana and it started to make its way to the U.S. And there's eyewitness testimony that the Coast Guard shot a gun in the air as a warning. What happened? The SS St. Louis started to make its way back to Germany. This is in 1939. Now, as it's on its way back to Germany, they docked in Britain, one of Britain's docks, and a few Jews were let off. These Jews actually survived the Holocaust. Some Jews were let off. I don't know how many. I'm sure I'm sure it was written in. I read this book a long time ago. So there were 4 countries that basically let in Jews on the way back to Germany, and so United Kingdom, and there was Belgium, Holland, and France. Now, the Jews that went to Holland and went to Belgium and went to France were actually, in the end, met their death. Because it was only in 1940, Germany, Nazis, the Reich, had conquered these countries, and one of the first things the Nazis did was send Jews to concentration camps. So these pointless deaths were strictly because of a bad head in your sand policy. Now, I say head in the sand is because I'm trying to be nice, but it was just bad policy. And you read in the books, and the survivors could actually see Havana. Right? They write that they smelled the smells from the city. They saw the buildings in Cuba, but nothing. They weren't allowed in. So FDR was no hero. The Brits failed miserably. Were actually evil. And there was actually one hero. There was one hero, and that was the German captain. The German captain of the SS St. Louis, Gustav Schroeder. When they said you have to leave the harbor, he didn't leave. He basically was trying to delay this ship from going anywhere, both in the U.S. and both in Havana. He basically he tried to delay, and at some point, right, he said to the passengers that we're going to go to the United Kingdom first. If they don't let us in, I'm going to scuttle the ship. And they're going to have to take you in. And what happened, the United Kingdom took, but not only a few. So that was kind of the worst scenario possible. Because if he would have scuttled the ship, as he thought he should, if United Kingdom did not let in, they would all been saved. They would not have sent them back to Germany. I mean, we don't know. But definitely would have delayed. But they let them in, and then they sent them on their merry way. Right? There's a book by it's called While 6 Million Died. It's by Arthur Morse. So he writes this book, and he exposes the entire. He basically takes away the cover up of what occurred, and he exposes that and it's been proven since, by the way, in greater detail, of what the Allies did, right? And particularly the United Kingdom and the United States. Now, it's been proven that the United States gave a rat's behind, and the Allies gave a rat's behind about what happened to Jews in Auschwitz, because, as we said, they bombed this oil refinery, synthetic oil refinery, in the 5 miles from the actual crematorium. But they also bombed 5 oil factories, and these five were all in a 45-mile distance from Auschwitz. Right? They had to fly over the railroad tracks in order to bomb these factories. They had to fly over the railroad tracks that led. So they flew over, and the survivors said they saw them fly over. And they could have just bombed those tracks. You know, it would have created such a delay. Bomb the crematorium. Now, that's not to say the Nazis wouldn't have gunned them down with bullets, but it wasn't efficient. That's why they stopped. And both the United Kingdom and the United States, right, had the ability, and basically they lied, right? They lied, and they're not beyond lies. We know government. I mean, in New York these days, we're dealing with a nursing home cover-up, right? They covered up. They said it would be too dangerous to take their planes that close to Auschwitz. It was a lie. It was a lie. Well, they said that we cannot divert precious resources. In other words, bombs and planes and pilots so we cannot divert, and they have to go on their mission, but not bomb the tracks or bomb the crematoriums. There are arguments that say that FDR had his reasons where he didn't want to waste his bombs on bombing buildings did not directly affect the war. To me, and other people say that's the reason, and he had to make some tough choices. To me, you knew what was going on. You knew, and there is no choice when you can have a direct effect on saving a life, one life. It says it in the Mishnah. Whoever saves one person saves an entire world because of the progeny that will come from that saving. They could have saved, literally, it was a year's worth of death. A year's worth of death in Auschwitz. Birkenau. So there was actually, Auschwitz was made up of kind of two camps. There was Auschwitz, there was the labor camp, and there was Birkenau, right next door, 2 miles away, was the death camp. They could have stopped it. They could have stopped it, and it all came out. It all came out. And there's another book written. I don't remember the author right now. Forsyth, maybe, the secret war against the Jews. It's complete exposure of the federal government, United States federal government, the way they acted towards Jews. I mean, the secret war against the Jews goes beyond that, but it discusses this. So I don't know how many Jews were saved from the SS St. Louis, but clearly not enough. And we always said that Jewish blood is cheaper than water, right? It's cheaper than herring, and it seems to be true. And I will tell you, I saw something the other day that was appalling, and that just continues this theme. Nothing to do with the Holocaust, SS St. Louis, but to anybody that asks, does this garbage and crap still continue? So eBay has scoured, and they write this in a press release, they've scoured their site to make sure that these offensive Dr. Seuss books are not sold, because they're offensive and the publisher doesn't want them sold. Right? 2 reasons: offensive, and the publisher doesn't want them sold. And he says, and we in general, we scour to make sure there are nothing offensive sold on our site. So no pornography, no offensive, other offensive books, racist books, etc. However, for $14.95 on eBay today, while you cannot buy a Dr. Seuss book, you can buy Mein Kampf, Hitler's book. You can buy, so $14.95, you can get all the hate you want. You can buy the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is basically states that Jews take over the world and they have all the money and they rule the banks. You can buy that book. You can buy the Anarchist Cookbook, a step-by-step guide how to make a bomb, a pipe bomb, how to make a bomb that will inflict damage and kill people you don't like. That you can buy. Dr. Seuss? No. It's offensive, and the publisher doesn't want us to sell it. So it's insanity. It's insanity. And yes, Jewish blood is as cheap as $14.95. You can buy something that slams Jews, Hitler's vision, for $14.95. You know, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. We should learn from the cover-up that took place in 1944, right? To me, eBay is not true to their mission, and you know, what to do about it, who knows? Who knows? Holocaust is not pleasant. I told you, this is not. It's not pleasant. It's not music to the ears. You know, our course on modern day Israel was unbelievable, right? So many good things and failures of Israeli government, but there was a lot to celebrate. This class, the failings that led to death of Jews. I don't know if somebody can Google it. How many Jews were killed in 1 year from 44 to 45 in Auschwitz, Birkenau? The failings are heavy. Are heavy, as Hazel writes, too horrible to contemplate. It is vile, thugs, and is there only you know, is there anything we can do about it now? And is there anything we can do to assure that nothing like that happens again? We need help. We do need help.